Huge queues, a playful clown, and of course Big Macs. Do you know this picture? Even if you're a principled opponent of fast food, you probably had to dine at McDonald's once or twice. You may have tried Happy Meals as a child. Now, McDonald's is one of the most recognizable brands in the world. Until 2010, the McDonald's fast food chain was the largest in the world. People around the world strongly associate fast food with McDonald's. How did the company achieve such fame? Did you know that the lion's share of McDonald's income comes from property rentals? Let's talk about it on our channel right now. And for more clips, make the subscribe button great, break the like button, and don't forget to click the bell. It's very important for us. Fasten your seatbelts and enjoy the flight. McDonald Brothers. In 1937, in the California city of Monrovia, when the Great Depression had not yet ended, brothers Richard McDonald and Morris McDonald launched the Airdrome hot dog stand with a $5,000 loan. In 1940, the brothers decided to move their operations to San Bernardino and change the sign to McDonald's Barbecue. Over the next few years, the brothers never had the success they had hoped for. In 1948, the case had to be temporarily closed, but the brothers did not even think of giving up. Then the brothers decided to radically change the strategy of their business. They borrowed a workflow system from car manufacturers, which later became known as the quick service system. This was the start of a restaurant chain that set the standard for the entire fast food industry. The kitchen has turned into a kind of an assembly line on which the same set of products is constantly created. The menu was simple, with hamburgers, french fries, and milkshakes being the main courses, which are still sold to this day. The waiters were reduced, and cafe visitors themselves had to approach the cashier to place an order. Only then they went to the tables. The strategy has brought prices down. For example, the price of a hamburger decreased by 2 times and dropped to 15 cents, while in other fast foods they cost at least 30. 10 years later, the brainchild of the brothers began to bring them twice as much money compared with the 40s. The enterprise brought in an average of about $350,000 per year. The appearance of Ray Kroc. In the brothers' restaurant, they made not only food but also drinks. For example, cocktails were whipped with a mixer. The brothers were supplied with mixers at that time by a man whose name was Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc was 52 years old at that time. He was deaf, suffered from arthritis, diabetes, underwent 2 operations to cut out the gallbladder and part of the thyroid gland, but he still continued to believe in a bright future. And for good reason. Looking ahead, it's important to note that Ray Kroc is a great source of inspiration for those people who believe that their best years are behind them. Ray Kroc was a versatile person with rich life experience and a vibrant philosophy of life. Ray worked in a grocery store, owned a music store, drove a Red Cross ambulance during World War I, sold coffee beans, played jazz, was a real estate manager, sold mixers. The list is endless. The main thing is that Ray made perseverance the motto of his life. He believed that in order to be successful, a person must be able to dream and be persistent. And he put this principle into practice. Kroc suggested to Richard and Morris that they sell franchises. They readily agreed, and for them it was a very good deal, since they did not like to travel at all, and both were satisfied with an annual income of $300,000. In those days, the price of a franchise was $950 and was issued for 20 years. In comparison, today the initial franchise fee alone is $45,000. Each restaurant had to pay 1.9% of its income. 1.4% went to Kroc, 0.5% to the McDonald brothers. In the first year, 18 franchises were sold. The first person to buy it was Neil Fox, from Fresno, California. The third and fourth restaurants were opened in 1953 in Michigan and California, in 1954 in Arizona, and 9 restaurants were opened in Illinois and Chicago. As for the rest of the franchises, he persuaded his rich friends from clubs in Chicago to buy them. We are in the real estate business. Of course, McDonald's makes a lot of money selling food, but this is far from their main source of income. In 2022, there were over 40,000 McDonald's in the world, and 93% of them are franchised. 93% of McDonald's is not owned by the McDonald's Corporation itself, but by those who bought their franchise. All costs of launching and maintaining the operation of the restaurant are borne by the franchisee. Among these expenses, one of the most significant is the rent of the premises. Who do you think franchisees rent from? Franchisees rent premises from McDonald's Corporation itself. It is believed that the author of this idea is Harry Sonneborn. Sonneborn previously served as vice president of finance for the Tasty Freeze chain. One day, Sonneborn approached Ray Kroc with the following idea. Kroc owned the land on which the McDonald outlet were to be built, and then leased the land to franchisees. Later, this business model led to the explosive growth of McDonald's. Real estate transactions were carried out through a specially created corporation called McDonald's Franchise Realty Corp. Sonneborn is credited with the following quote about the essence of McDonald's income. "We're not technically in the food business. We are in the real estate business. The only reason we sell 15-cent hamburgers is because they are the greatest producer of revenue, from which our tenants can pay us our rent." Ray Kroc soon appointed Sonneborn as the first president and CEO of McDonald's in 1959. Sonneborn held this position until he resigned in 1967 due to a falling out with Kroc. The fact is that Kroc insisted on continuing expansion, while Sonneborn was more cautious, believing that the country was heading for a recession and should stop building new stores. So, the prudent conservative financier could not agree with the dreamy expansionist. By 2022, 56% of revenue comes from franchisees and 42% from owned restaurants. The rest comes from other sources. Moreover, the return on sales in McDonald's owned restaurants is 18%, and in franchise restaurants, 82%. And although the revenue from owned restaurants is slightly inferior to that from franchisees, operating income from franchised restaurants is 6 times higher than from owned ones. The total royalty from McDonald's in the US is 8%, where 4% is actually royalties and 4% is the advertising budget. It turns out that when it comes to franchisee revenue, the main income comes not from royalties but from rental fees, which is also included in the income from franchised restaurants. Rise of McDonald's. At the end of 1956, the turnover of 17 restaurants was $1.2 million. After 4 years, the network consisted of 228 restaurants, with a total turnover of $38 million. And after 5 years, there were already more than 10,000 restaurants in the assets of McDonald's Corporation. This breakthrough occurred after Ray Kroc bought the business from the brothers for $2.7 million in 1961. In 1960, the brothers' company received a new name, McDonald's Corporation. In 1965, there were about 700 restaurants in the US. The cost of hamburgers slowly grew, but there were only more buyers because the company's reputation spoke for itself. In 1966, McDonald's was already listed on the New York Stock Exchange. The inventor of the Big Mac, Jim Delagatti, became the author of the international culinary hit at McDonald's. After the Big Mac was sold in all restaurants in the United States in 1968, the company's turnover added 12%. Ray Kroc was strong when it came to strategic decisions. In the mid-70s, the baby boom was in full swing, and Ray decided to bet on children. Bright McDonald's restaurants with fun playgrounds, Happy Meals and colorful packaging and bright toys were exactly what the market needed. And despite the fact that the McDonald's Corporation has become one of the main symbols of capitalism, the company has penetrated even into communist countries. In 1988, the first restaurant was opened in a communist country, Serbia. In 1990, the first restaurant in Moscow. In 1992, the largest McDonald's opened in China, with 700 seats. McDonald's today. McDonald's has been through a lot of blows in recent years. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, McDonald's has suffered heavy losses. For example, by April 2020, sales at restaurants open at least a year ago had fallen by more than 22% in March, driven by a nearly 35% drop in international markets. Due to anti-Russian sanctions in 2022, the company was forced to leave Russia and lost $1.2 billion. However, McDonald's is holding up well no matter what. According to Statista.com, in a 2022 ranking of brands by their value, McDonald's placed 6th at nearly $197 billion, with an increase in value by 27% compared to previous years. McDonald's gross profit for the quarter ending December 31, 2022, was $3.4 billion, a 4.54% increase year over year. 69% of the shares of companies now, at the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, belong to institutional investors. The largest shareholder at the moment is Vanguard Group Incorporated, with 9.2% of shares outstanding. Many valuable lessons can be learned from the history of McDonald's. The McDonald brothers did not immediately begin to succeed, but they did not give up and continued to try different strategies. In the end, they came up with quick service. an approach that will take hold in the fast food industry for a long time. The fact that a huge part of McDonald's income comes from renting real estate shows that business is not always what it seems at first glance. At the current level of development of McDonald's, selling fast food is just a facade for an empire that grew on renting real estate. The example of Ray Kroc shows that even if you are over 50, you should not give up big ambitions and stop quitting. Despite poor health, perseverance and life experience allowed Ray to succeed. So it's never too late to dream. Do you keep dreaming? When was the last time you ordered from McDonald's? Let us know in the comments.